Hey everyone, you have landed at Distill It, a 360-degree view of life and sports. My name is Wendy Rosenthal. I am your co-host each and every Thursday, not each and every Thursday, each and every other Thursday, along with the beautiful Paul, Elegant, and Buck. Sorry, I had to say it. You're posting about yourself this week, boxing. Had to make the comment.
I'm having fun boxing now that they've shut down all my gyms. I've spent more time with my boxing trainer. Thank goodness for Pepe Riley.
Every time you post about a picture of you boxing, it doesn't put me to shame. It just makes me laugh thinking what I might look like if somebody filmed me doing that. And then I have to laugh.
Well, someday we'll do side by side. I think people will enjoy that.
That would be hysterical, actually. You have joined us again. Every other week, we are here talking about our favorite topic of all time, which is sports. Ava and I are the proud co-owners of the Distillery Inc., a company that works with athletes to repurpose their athletic intelligence so that they can have a really fulfilling and meaningful life beyond their exceptional careers. And that is why we are here every single week to talk about the parts of sports that don't often get the platform. There's so much going on behind the scenes, around the scenes. There's so many topics and issues that are off the field. We believe sports is a metaphor for life, and that's why we want to present all those amazing stories on this show. So thank you for joining us. Thank you to ubngo.com for hosting us. And if you are interested in participating in the show today, please comment, or you can even call in at 323-524-2599. And like I said, if you comment, usually on our Facebook page, I catch them and we're happy to share your questions or comments. Today, we have a very special guest. We've had this amazing string of coaches in the last few shows, but Coach Coco, I think, takes the cake. He is the coach of coaches. He has been coaching sports for, I'll let him tell you because I don't want to embarrass him or myself. So when we start talking to him, he can tell you, but a long time, let's leave it at that. And he really has an amazing method for coaxing the best out of his athletes. So we're very excited today to have Coach Coco Jarin with us. Hi, Coach. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you girls doing today?
Fantastic. Thank you for taking the time to join us today.
You're awesome. You know, we normally start off with what's going on in sports, just because even though we're not a show that really is analyzing all the things that are going on the field, we're sports fans, so we need to talk a little bit about what's going on. And I'm going to surprise you guys, like, hey, opening night of baseball is tonight, right?
When we had the applause intro to our show, I thought for a split second, is that what's going to sound like in stadiums now all around, sort of just this,
Yeah.
That's exactly what it's going to be. And they're going to have these dummies in the seats because you've got to have something to get people excited. So it was very interesting. Just for a split second, I thought, wow, opening night.
Well, we know how excited we get when we hear the applause, but
yeah, it makes a difference.
But I read that the Major League Baseball has been practicing,
right?
And they've had applause like piped into the stadium so that they can actually simulate at least a little bit of engagement from the non-crowd that's there.
It's going to be so fun to watch baseball games now. I mean, I'm sort of just envisioning this whole keep your 6 feet distance, but you've got the player wanting to fight with the umpire and the manager wanting to get in. And how's that going to happen if you're all, you can no longer be in each other's faces. You've got to keep your 6 feet. It's going to be a very different quarrel now.
And you can't, and not only that, you can't spit.
Right.
Right. There's you can't high five. You can't do all the things that athletes really like. It's part of the show of the game.
Sure.
But listen, I'm not going to complain because we got baseball starting.
Yeah.
Which means that football actually might happen.
It might happen. Speaking of football, did you catch? I mean, it was just minutes ago. The Washington football team announcement.
Yes. Coach, did you hear this?
No.
The Redskins have, at least temporarily, decided they will simply be known as the Washington football team. I mean, I'm assuming that's just they need time to come up with something a lot more exciting, but the Washington football team.
I think it's hysterical. I think they should keep it.
Do you?
Well, it's like the entertainer.
His name is Dog.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It's like Cedric the Entertainer, the Washington football team.
Right. Well,
I bet it. You want to make a bet it sticks?
Do you think so?
Well, they're going to spend a fortune trademark. They've got to, right?
Right.
They're going to
Right.
spend a fortune trademarking, and you've got all the licensees that are going to make the shirts and the cups and the hats and all the paraphernalia.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, who's going to want to spend all that extra money a year from now to like do it again? I bet
So
I bet it
interesting.
sticks.
All right, we'll see.
You know, it's just, it'll be like one of those things back in the COVID days when they didn't have football and everybody was upset about, you know, it'll be like one of those stories that, you know, our
Exactly.
kids
Yeah.
will tell their kids,
Yeah.
you know. All right. Well, listen, at least there's stuff going on in sports. We've had golf, which has been nice. I know, again, I say this every time. Ava's not as big a fan as I am of golf.
No, golf is very exciting for those who enjoy watching it and playing
Exactly.
it. Absolutely.
Exactly.
And we have professional women's soccer coming to LA,
Which is
huge.
huge.
Yeah.
I know. I saw the jumps of joy as you posted on our site about that.
Could you feel it? I haven't been able to shut up about it. Very exciting.
Very, very exciting.
My kids and I will be there. Lots of the games supporting.
I think it's time, and LA needs it. And
Yeah.
I'm just, you know what? I'm excited here in Austin. We're getting a football club too. I'm very excited about that.
Right. Yeah.
The Austin foot. I don't know when we'll get to go. I mean, they were supposed to open next year, but we'll see.
We'll see what happens. Yeah.
And Liverpool, and as I think I read that Liverpool won the premiership.
They won. They did. They did.
So
I'd be so curious to hear from, you know, anyone involved there, see what it was like to not have just your usual environment. I mean, you don't have your fans in the stadium with you. You know, it's such a different, I mean, clearly they were celebrating, they were thrilled, and this was a big deal, but it just, so many different factors have, you know, shaped what this was like.
Yeah, I know. Well, we could always have Marshall come on
and talk about it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's an Arsenal fan. He's not a Liverpool fan, but I bet he would, or we can maybe.
You'll have plenty to say.
Yeah, or maybe our friend Tony Husband.
Nice.
Okay,
BBC.
Perfect. So maybe we'll see. We'll reach out and see.
Perfect. And then your show.
So amazing. We now actually have stuff to talk about in sports, which makes me very, very happy. I'm sure it makes everybody out there listening very happy. But we really did not come here to talk about all those sports. We really came here to talk to Coach Coco. You know, we've had the privilege of working with Coach now on a couple of different projects for the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 months. And he is a force, and we've been wanting to get him on the show, not only because of his skills and what he does with kids, but also because of the coaching he does to other coaches. And, you know, I'm always joking about how I've had to coach my son's football team and his soccer team and a little bit of his baseball team, and I kind of suck at it, to be honest. So I'm excited to hear Coach talk about some of the things that he does in order to kind of elevate that engagement that coaches have with their athletes. Welcome, Coach, again. We're so happy to have you. If you don't mind taking a couple minutes and just sharing with our audience, you know, a little bit about you, tell us about your illustrious career so we can get the ball rolling.
Yes, I've been coaching a little bit over 40 years. And I've taken a hiatus as far as concerning on what I'm doing on the sideline. I've been blessed for about the last 3 years to work with a phenomenal program at Centennial, Corona Centennial, with Matt Logan and his coaching staff. And being involved with those guys really gives you an opportunity to see a group of loyal soldiers really led by a phenomenal leader himself. And just to see all the things that are important for them in regards to education, community, and then back to football, because those two things are going to tie in with that. So like I said, got out of coaching a little bit, but still in coaching, doing more of the things that what I've done with TAKEAKNEE, which started roughly right about 20 years ago. My cousin and I, Ralph Portillo, we decided he's kind of a computer guy. So we said, let's get together and provide something for the people. And what I do is in coaching and friends and my colleagues, and what we do is coaching. So we got together, and over a course of a night, we said, well, what do we call it? You know, what do we call this website that we're going to try to create? And he, about 1 o'clock in the morning, he comes up as we're talking for about 3 hours. He says, how do you get attention? We said, well, when things aren't going real well, sometimes the head coach will blow the whistle 3 times, and we all come running in, even as coaches, and we kind of get in there, and he goes, all right, take a knee. So when you take a knee and when he gets you guys up and going and you're out of there and you're going back to your area, he's giving you a remedy. He's giving you a solution that's going to provide you to get better. So at that particular time, we are all taking a knee. We are truly accepting knowledge. So when we say for the last 20 years, we've been saying TAK, we've been saying TAK time all the time. And that's just truly accepting knowledge. And then it kind of goes way back, people says, well, where does this mindset come from? The mindset, literally, it comes from right around the neighborhood that I was born at. Grew up in San Diego, a city called National City. And what we had there is we had streets and we had a park and there was some grass. And we were able to have fun and do all that. And we were able to become real close-knit as a family, get real close-knit as a community, and then have some competition and get real close-knit within the blocks that we grew up with. And then a gentleman named Dave Lake came involved, and he was the head coach at the high school. And he kind of gathered everybody and seen a mindset on how we grew up there. It was a tough neighborhood that you really had to do what you had to do. And he kind of corralled it and created a program down at Sweetwater High School because we played football down in Pop Warner, down in South Bay, Pop Warner. So that mindset, he says, well, we can create something crazy over here. And he did. And then we went up there and played some football. And then, the communities got good. All the alpha dogs from all the little high schools. I have a friend, Fred V, who says that, all the alpha dogs from all the elementaries all got together and we all decided we'll just become good friends and have a good group of guys to hang around with, which is pretty cool. And we're still doing it today. But that group of guys ended up having a mindset, and the program was phenomenal in the late 60s, early 70s, and the 80s when Gene Allen came in, who I call as my mentor. When he came in there, he was just like, wow. Dave Lay got these guys and he corralled them, that mindset. And what he did is he polished it. And he brought a system that was incredible. And if you're a captain, we had a captain that just passed away, Reno Leomidi. He was a phenomenal builder of men. And when you were a captain there, you had to be, he set the motto, he set a template. So he just followed the line of what Gene Allen did. He set a template there. And then I got involved with coaching. And then when that was all done, I got coaching with him. And it just kind of, that mindset kind of just started, and we grew. And when I've been blessed to be a part of some incredible athletes, growing up. I hung out with a group of guys that we could play almost any kind of sport because why? There was a field, there was grass, there was a street, there was a community, and we competed. And that competition kind of just stayed within there and wanted to be the best that you can be. As a young guy, I coached a Pop Warner team, which was my little brother's team. 7 of those kids off of that team went to Division I football, and we went undefeated. It was a team that came out on the old school TV guide. We were on TV guide. That was pretty fun to see, and just seeing how from there, how the kids embrace what we were doing, and then recognize the importance of getting out and not hanging out. So it wasn't about hanging out, it was about getting out because of the way the program was. And your mindset was, if I don't go to school, if I don't get it done right, I'm not going to get a scholarship, or I got to go to Southwestern College, which was a junior college. But the mindset was always there. And it was up to us as young guys to be able to make that choice to get it done or hang out. So when we got it done, we recognized that, whoa, this is pretty awesome. And then from that team, I went to Coach Allen and said, he was the new head coach at Sweetwater, says, I got a group of guys, Dean, that's going to be phenomenal when they get there. I need you to come and watch us play. So he came and watched us play. In the following year, I was coaching with an old coach of ours named Russ Schubert, and 5 of my friends, which was really awesome. We coached the JV. We had an incredible season. And then I got moved up to coach up on the varsity with Gene Allen, Bob West, and Dave Tipton. Dave Tipton those guys are like, man, they were like, just to be around those guys, you just were in their presence, you knew it. And then they introduced me to all these college coaches at 21 years old, 22 years old. I'm doing all these clinics. The first clinic I went to, I thought one of the coaches were sick. I was going, what's wrong with, why are we going to clinic? Who's sick? They go, we're going to go hear some coaches talk about football. And then I got into just a gentleman named Bill Williams was speaking. Ernie Zampese was there from the San Diego Chargers, and I was like in awe. We're in a back room in a conference room of a Bank of America. Then next thing you know, I'm at clinics, and then I'm at clinics everywhere. Next thing you know, I'm speaking and I'm coaching. And then from there, it's just who I became. It's just who I became. And
I really kind of was interested in what you were saying about, you know, Take a Knee is coming, is basically coming in to almost humble yourself so that you can receive knowledge. How do you take that philosophy and tell a, you know, maybe a teenage kid who's in high school, who's really good at football, who thinks that they are, you know, the bomb, they're going to make it all the way to the pros. How do you instill that really amazing philosophy into young kids?
I think a couple ingredients are real important when you're taking a knee and you're listening to somebody. When that person's up there, if he's authentic and he's genuine and he's somebody that you can trust, and those three things, they just can't be thrown at somebody and say, here they are. They have to see that in motion. And when those three things are in motion, sometimes they can't wait to hear the whistle blow 3 times before they can come there and take a knee. And then if you address it always just for the athletic student, we're going to get nowhere. So when you address it as a student athlete, those things have to be addressed. And we talk about a T3 concept. And what we do, when I say we, is a Take a Knee group. It's just a Take a Knee family who's part of it. When you get into the T3 concept, I run a drill or run a practice. We're talking education and transitions in life. When you wake up in the morning, are you ready for school? Are you ready for first period, second period, third period, fourth period, fifth and sixth? Those are tools that we have, and we fail to recognize those as an essential tool that'll get us through transitions in life. And when we recognize communication, the bilingualism in it, and the key to drive that vehicle is just recognizing how do you transition to get it all done. First period, second period, all the way up to school ends. You've gone through 7 transitions. So it's a trust. And when that trust comes in and they're taking a knee and you tell a kid, you want to be in the NFL? You want to go to Division I? Wherever you go, the first thing that starts with is who you are. You're a student athlete. So before your name will be called, your name is going to get called. Why? Because you have the solid grades for a recruiter to go in there, call a school, call the counselor, look at your grades and say, let's call this kid back. As long as I'm authentic, they're going to take that in the line. And that's kind of what I like to do, just be straightforward with the kids and parents.
I'm sure they totally appreciate that. I think that I just wanted to step back a little bit because you're almost talking about coaching the kids from, you know, like from the minute they get in school. You're not coaching them, but you like said, there's transition. There's, you know, you're going from period 1 to period 2. How are you handling that transition? So that at the point that they get to you at the end of their day, they are like moving, you know, is it a better flow for them? Are they happier? Is it like, what's the mentality of saying you've got to transition through your day? Because I don't think as adults, many people transition well from one event to another, actually.
Yeah, I think the importance of recognizing transitions in life as we start to go on as a football coach. So a coach to a coach to a parent, a coach to a student athlete. The important thing is just to recognize transitions. What is your time frame within those transitions? How are they broken down so they can be completely proficient in what you're going to get done? So the transition is, how do I get my mindset right? You know, learning how to get a mindset right is really important, because when you wake up in the morning, first of all, who wakes you up? Do you need an alarm, something electrical to start your life? But once you get going from there, your mindset is, I got to do this, I got to do that. And then those steps, get to first period. And then when you get out of first period, how do you adjust your mindset to get into, before you even walk into the threshold of that door? And then when you get into that door, what do your eyes tell you what to do? Look at the board. What's important? If something's on the board, it was important for them to write it. So put it down on your note with a date. And then as soon as they open your mouth, write it down. Understand how to lecture. So that all comes about when you take a knee. So when you take a knee, how do you address your grandparents when they ask you to talk to them? You give them big eyes, you give them a big chest, and you let them know that you got my full attention. So I like to always go back to where are my foundational steps that help me grow, and that's what we do with the students. I'm in week 16 on a progressive camp. We just went back to week 2 last Saturday to talk about a fundamental that's in their toolbox now, but we brought it up to the top of it because we were going to use it that day.
Will you talk a little bit, Coach, about, just because you touch on those clinics that you're doing now? I mean, for so many people who feel like things have come to a complete halt, a complete standstill during this pandemic, you're still organizing and putting on these clinics and working with your athletes. What has that shift been like in sort of terms of taking them from a place of not getting bogged down by the fact that they've been held back in some way by the pandemic, but moving forward, like you said, with these transitions, focusing on what they can do next?
It's the mindset. So the mindset says you can't do something. The community says you can't do something. Really, the pandemic is incredible. It says you can't do a lot. But the mind says you can do a lot. At 2 o'clock in the morning, I come to a 4-way stop sign, I stop. I don't care if no one's there. I stop. Because the rule says you have to stop. And the rule says you got a social distance. The rule says you have to wear a mask. I've got a grandchild that was just born. Incredible. Jewel Soleil. Soleil middle name is means sunshine. So I think it's important that we social distance. We do all that. So when we do work out, our guys fist pump. We're 5 yards away. How many times do you see a coach ride up on somebody? I'm 20 yards away. We're doing what we're going to do. We wear a mask out of the public park. We don't have a gang of people. It's just a few.
Sure.
And the parents that are there, which is a great group of men themselves and women, but they social distance themselves. And when we run, we don't run right on top of each other. We're looking at about, your trigger point is 10 yards away. So if I put that at 6 feet, we're literally 60 feet away from each other as we work. So the cool thing about all of that is your mindset. Can you do something in your backyard and create your own playground? Yes. How do I get what I do and can only do it on a Saturday from a distance and have each kid create a workout that I did on, say, 2 specific moves and do it moving left and doing it right? I tell them this: when you go in your bedroom, you're going left. Get those moves in, and you're in there. When you come out of your bedroom, you got to go back to the hall, get it done right. So they get to do that. When they sit down on the table, they got to replace their toe with their heel. Get the right foot done, left foot done. You get it done in 25 seconds. Imagine if you got 50 in when you first got in the first period. By the end of the 6th period, you got 300 in. By the end of the week, you got 1,500 in. Times that by 12 months. We'll talk about muscle memory. So my thing is, they say you can't do it, but the mind says I can do it. That's what I'm saying. If you find a way, you'll find a way to be completely safe, completely healthy. Don't get no one else in jeopardy, and you're going to get it done. They may have taken a lot of things away, but they haven't taken away our mindset, because that mindset still says this: if you can't do what you need to do, you got a lot of time right now that they've given a lot of you students that your grades should be minimum. Everybody should be calling you because you should get them to the minimum of a call.
Sure.
And if you want to get them even any further, because you have the time to get in there and study properly, you can have the higher institutions, because of your GPA and your test scores, to even have more people looking after you right now. Don't blame what they've taken away. Really embrace what they've given you. They've given you time to get micro, and that's really important.
I was just going to ask you, Coach. I love the idea that it's about mindset. I was going to ask you, how are you talking to some of the kids who would have been like, we don't know when the football season or if the football season is going to start, on any level, whether it's high school, junior high, or professional. How are you talking to kids that are maybe seniors this year or who were really looking forward to going into their first year of college and being being a part of a team? I understand its mindset, but that's got to be like really disappointing at this point. How are you, what's that mindset? What's the take a knee mindset around that?
Okay. That's a great question there, because when they've taken things away from these kids, they've taken things away from the educators, and they've taken away things from coaches themselves. And if you look at it, when you look at the process, I've got a kid that I'm working with right now, two kids, Gavin, Henri, and his first name is awesome. His first name is King. So King Moore. And their mindsets, when you tell them to look at the mountain to see as far as it is, they see beyond that. They see themselves on a scholarship Division I. That's where they see themselves at right now. Why? Because their mindset says this, that they understand the process and the education. So when all that stuff is taken away, the parents are really in tune as far as making sure all that stuff is done. Excuse me. When that's taken away, you gotta, not you, but we have to find something that's gonna build their self-esteem on a, not, so for instance, if I wanna get an A in a math class, that's my distant goal. I tell the kids, you gotta be able to embrace every step that's gonna get you to that final A. So it means you gotta embrace the homework, get an A, get a pop quiz, get an A, the midterm, get an A, or you don't get an A. So what it says is that you're in complete control of every one of your transitions. You just gotta get ready for them and get your mindset ready. So I know that's taken away. So once that phase is taken away, the next mindset is this: do I have the proper film? Number one, okay, I got the proper film. Now embrace your village. Embrace your village and see of your village who, because if the era says there's no contact, there's no football, there's no film. We have none of that. So what do I got to do? I've got to be able to live off the film that I got. If I'm a guy that was waiting for my senior year, then you got to have some phenomenal JV film. You got to have some phenomenal practice film. And then you got to have somebody that's training you, that's filming you, and looking at every one of your little micro progressions that maybe has some contact with some coaches out there that will look at that film. Because when there's no film, then you got to be able to piece together some film and then have somebody vouch for you with some quality film where they can see your body posture, your change of direction, your explosion, your speed, and your burst, all within that film. Why? Because you've taken care of the other steps that you've been able to brace to keep that self-esteem up. Now you're able to put something together. At least you're saying, you know what? Here, we have a chance. We have a chance. And at this point, my recommendation is this: really be real with yourself. Really be real with your sons. Really be real with your players, coaches. Really be real fans with who you're going to watch. Not everybody's Division I. Not everybody's 1AA. Not everybody. You're going to find your home. You're going to find your home. You know, we have a gentleman, David Hill, who works with us, HSPN, and they provide on an alliance with us, but they provide an opportunity, a platform, a database through a stealth program that services the 97th percentile, Division II, Division III, NAIA. And if you got to go to the JC, I think it's really important for all you young student athletes and parents that are all within this whole mission of guidance, being the GPS as a village for the young student athletes. It's really important. If you're a student, I got a kid, Justin Henri. He just got offered a scholarship. At one point, he wants to be a microbiologist. He wants to be a marine biologist. He's really excited about going to USD if he can get there. He's a phenomenal student. He's been doing some great things in some of his training. I've been working with him for about 12 weeks now, and he got a scholarship offer. Man, he's got a scholarship offer. His senior year hasn't even started yet. So he's really working off of that film. And if it didn't happen, he knew what he wanted to get done. So it's really important that for us in the village is to recognize that when football's over, what's the guiding light that's over there? I have a kid that wants to be a criminal justice, and if he could use football as a tool and a leverage to help him through on Nathan Hill, he's gonna, without a doubt, he knows what he's gonna do.
Sure.
You know, so those kids that we work with, the TAKEAKNEE that are with us, we're not just trying to get them ready for a football season. We really work on, if I do a drill, that first drill, we're talking about a transition and, hey, how did you do in class? Everyone, we're talking about that. Getting ready for school. The second phase of that rep, we're talking about when school's over, how do you become, who do you become? How authentic and genuine are you in the community, in your community and at home? You know, what do you do? Do you help the needy on a Wednesday at school? What do you do to build your character and create that? And the third rep is, how does that drill that we're doing going to get your name called when the ball snap? So the important things for us is in the T3 concept for a student athlete is education. What is he doing to transitions in community? And then football. Why does football be addressed last? Because it's what they do all their lives. It's their passion. The best of them is going to come out. And then we say the fourth time, we're going to nail it down for those three phases will be part of your fiber. Then at any given time, we can bring it up on part of the toolbox. But I don't know if that answers your question, but I did go on. That's it.
Well, I was also talking about the emotional side of it. I mean, yes, you answered the question, but I'm also like, it's great to say all of that, but there's emotion behind it. These kids are, there's disappointment, there's frustration. You know, I know that you coached a kid that's going, who's highly recruited to go to USC and start his football career this season, you know, highly touted. You know, how do you help them get past? You can do all of the things that are very practical, but is there an emotional side that you can address or you can share right now with our viewers to help their kids maybe who are facing it and they're not, you know, like they're in different stages?
I think the important thing I would say is your village. Your village is so important because when those dreams start to get cloudy a little bit, and we can't control clouds, sure. You know, it's going to go. I really go back to trust. I know one thing, the guy that handles it all, he's not a second late or a second early. He does everything on time. So if you just trust your village, and if your village recognizes transitions that are coming up, then they should be getting ready for a no season. So what we did was TAKEAKNEE was just try to figure out, what do we do with no season? Well, for me, they're going to be upset, Wendy. Hey, well, they're going to be upset. Yeah, absolutely. But what do I do? Well, during that time that I get to be with them, am I that guy that just gets to be with them on a Saturday? No, I'm going to text them. I think that's important. I want to be able to, as they come there, put an arm around them. Take them to the side. Hey, do me a favor, James. You know, I mean, or Ethan. I got a linebacker, Ethan Winslow. When he is going, he is a guy.
Yeah.
So I like to be able to get him over there and see what his mindset's like. And then I can sense, because it's not about hanging out, it's about getting out. So you've got to be able to understand each kid's mindset. Every kid, if I got 15 kids, I got 15 red buttons to push.
Sure.
I got to find a way to motivate them, but I got to find a way to embrace them, because they might tell me something that's really bothering them. And if it's really bothering them, maybe they need a mental mindset breather for me that day.
Yeah.
That day. Why? Because I'm part of that village. And if it's something that I can hear, then it's something that I can contact their dad, their mom, or talk to them afterwards. And that's really cool, because I truly believe I don't look at it as a kid as an hour and a half. I look at it as a kid as a lifetime. You know, I coached a kid, John King. He was an all-CIF. He went on to San Jose. He was a great defensive back. But him and his wife invited my wife and I for dinner, and they asked us to be godparents to their son. You know, and that's more than drills. That's more than drills. So when your village is right, you got to have certain areas of your village that can reach out in certain areas to keep that light happening. That way they know that what they do tomorrow, what they do next week, it's still the process. It's just part of the steps, because he's never a second early and he's never a second late when that choice is ready to be made.
Coach, we've spent a fair amount of time talking about your work with the student athletes, but so much of what you do, so much of the incredible work that you do is focused on your relationship with coaches and your coaching of coaches. Can you talk to us a bit about what that's like, why it's so impactful for you, and maybe give us a bit of an interest to who you consider to be your mentors? Because I know that with the work you do, you also see sort of your mentors coming through you in the work that you now do with the coaches that you're coaching.
Yeah, and you know, in regards to coaching coaches, I never really thought of any of that until that one night when we took a knee and recognized that we were taking a knee. And then at that point, we were saying, well, who's going to take a knee? You know, and I wanted it to be a coach's clinic, because as a young coach, I was inspired by these coaches that I would see on TV, coaches that I would see on the sideline, and they were just builders of man. And my friends would turn around and say, why are you going this weekend again over there? Oh, I'm going to go to this coach's clinic. But to me, it was like, my first mentor guy was my Uncle Abel. To me, he's Jim Thorpe. You know, he just posted a picture of himself, and just to see the way he walked, his posture, and the way he handled his family, my cousins, his yard was immaculate, his swimming pool was perfect. I was like, wow. And then he shared everything. He coached everybody. You went to his house, it wasn't just playing basketball, he coached it. For some reason or another, man, that guy right there was, whatever I wanted to do as a young athlete, I wanted him to say, Coco, you did awesome. Well, I admired what you did. And when I got that, it meant the world to me. You know, then I had a gentleman, another coach, Coach Duke, who was an incredible high school coach for me. And they kind of got that mindset to be right. Coach Duke just let me know that I was an important person. You know, I was a knucklehead as a kid, and he was able to pull me off to the side and grab me and said, you know, you do a lot of things here in just PE. You should be playing some football a little bit. And he goes, and quit acting, trying to be somebody you're not. You know, you really put it right back down. And then as that thing goes, like I said, I got hooked up with Gene Elam and Dave Tipton, and they shared. When I got hooked up with those guys, man, I got hooked up with a community of coaches clinics. I was going to clinics everywhere. And as a young coach, I loved doing it. It was just fun. And coaches wanted to come to me. And I never thought I was ever coaching coaches until people were saying, man, you coach coaches good. And then I started doing this with just people go, you want to speak at this clinic? You want to speak at that clinic? So all that came about. And then next thing I know, coaches wanted to know, what do you do on the field? And then it grew to be on coaching stuff. And, you know, I think all of it turns out to be why Take a Knee was really important. Because when I was a young coach, Dave Tipton and Gene Elam and Bob West, those guys took me around and let me recognize that, yes, we're all good, but look at the platform of great and see how they do it. And I was like at awe. And the next thing you know, I'm on these agendas that I'm speaking. The next thing you know is, for anybody that really wanted it or wants it, we're all on the platform of good. All you got to do is look at the dance floor of great. It's probably the same moves we do. Just get up there and dance. So that's what I did.
So I says, when I do TAKEAKNEE, I want to be able to have TAKEAKNEE. I want quality coaches. I want coaches that just want to be able to share to the community. And they got to pass our 3-step program. We call it the E.L.S program. You know, they have to, TAKEAKNEE is something that we embrace. It's something that once it's in there, we're living it. And it's something that we want to share. So when that's there, it passes it, because it's all about sharing. So I wanted young coaches that have some phenomenal knowledge. I mean, phenomenal, but they just think they're good. They don't recognize they're great. So I want their information on TAKEAKNEE, and I want TAK time. I want a TAK session for the world at their fingertips 24/7. So when I look at TAKEAKNEE, it's an opportunity for, I like to say TAKEAKNEE is a platform. If I walked out to the universe, to the edge of everything, and I'm at the edge of the universe, and I grab that first thing that I want as a possibility, it opens up my first light and my first star. So why do you just have to be good? Dare yourself to be great and enjoy the steps in between. Embrace those steps. But recognize once you get there, do you have the same moves as they do? And if you do, get up and dance. And that's what TAKEAKNEE is. We're going to get up and dance.
I love that. Embrace it, live it, share it, and get up and dance.
Coach, I gotta ask this though. What's the most difficult thing about coaching a coach? Do coaches think they know everything?
I think I had to learn that. One of the hardest things, and what I said, the guy that I really work with a lot, man, I trust him completely, because he placed me at Corona Centennial High School, the #1 public school in the nation. And to be able to go there and see how they operate was incredible, just to see the speed, the work of their program, how their coaches communicate, how their whole parents are 100% backing. It was an incredible deal. And for me, who always had something to say or something to do on the sideline, in a meeting, I was placed as someone to help, and if I see something, to let them know. So in other words, you got the best seat in town, you get to sit on the sideline, you get to watch everybody up close, keep your mouth shut, and watch what we do. And I had to learn how to be truly humble. So really, they sent me to Marie Callender, and all they fed me was humble pie. So when I went over there, I recognized that that's what I have to do, because they were humble when I sat down and listened to them. I mean, when I sat down and we talked. All my coaches that I've coached with have been loyal soldiers. You know, Milo Epling, David Napoleon, and our general manager for TAKEAKNEE, Kaya Maderos, who's in Maui. Those are loyal soldiers. They spoke when they had to speak. So for me, I had to learn to change the role and be a better listener, absorb it, and let life unfold. And he couldn't have put me in a better spot than at Corona Centennial, because I got to see phenomenal athletes, talk to parents, get engaged with everybody, and recognize that how important it is for a community from ground to the crown and how it works. And I think Matt Logan does a great job with that over there. But being humble is really important. And then when you can walk in as a humble coach, authentic and genuine, and they know you're not on an agenda to do nothing but help them, then they're going to open it up. They recognize that they're going to embrace your 3-step program.
So Coach, we only have a couple minutes left, if you can believe it. So one last question for you, and we really only have a couple minutes. So okay. What do you consider your, highlight of your career, your biggest accomplishment with all the people that you have been able to impact over the years?
I think for us coaches, I think the most important thing is just to see the kids reach their highest potential, achieve their most passionate thing that they want to achieve. And I have kids that, like Coach Lawler mentioned on your show, we have a couple of kids that got their doctors, which is incredible, got their masters. They played side by side with each other in high school. One took a different route, one took another route. But for me, I've coached kids that wanted to get into music. Some kids just want to own a construction company. They fulfill their passion, then they're successful in life. But when they can come up to you, you can look at their face and see the passion that they have. It's incredible. To me, it's all about finishing and about not about hanging up again. Now, did they get out and did they finish and accomplish their passion? Just to see them happy and joyful is just a joy myself. So that alone is important to know that they accomplished their goals.
Well, I would say that if anybody could achieve that in the career impacting people, that would be for sure the highlight. Coach, we want to thank you so much for being here today. Can you believe we're almost out of time?
Wow.
Goes by so fast. Can you just say a bit about where people can find you if they're interested in getting in touch with you or having their kids be a part of your program?
Yeah, what was that? I think I wrote that stuff down here. Anyways, they can get a hold of me on Facebook. Look for TAKEAKNEE Coach Coco. They can find me on Instagram. That's Tag Coach Coco. They can get me on Twitter, and that's Coach Coco. And you can get to the website. That's www.takeaknee.com. All one word, not separated into three. All one word, takeaknee.com. I just want to tell everybody thank you for a tax session. You guys stay blessed. Wear your mask, social distancing. Together, let's make a difference.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Coach, for joining us. And thank everybody who has been watching today. Thank you, as always, Ava. Couldn't do it without you.
Thank you.
If you are interested in finding out more about the distillery or our show, we also have some workshops coming up. You can visit thedistilleryinc.com. You can find us on Facebook at The Distillery Inc., on Instagram at Distill It 360, on Twitter, Distill It 360, and we're on all of your favorite podcast platforms. So if there's anything here that you loved, you want to share, that inspired you, please like us, subscribe to our channels, and share with others. I saw Coach do this. What, did you have something you wanted to say?
Yeah, I just want to thank my wife and my family for just supporting what I've done for all these years. I want to say thank you.
So great.
So great. We will be back in a couple of weeks, and we look forward to seeing you all then. Thanks so much for joining us today, everyone.
Thanks again, Coach.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Blessings. So what do we do?
Right.
Are we done?
Yeah,
That's it. We're done.
all clear.
We're done.
That
Great
went
job,
like,
Coach.
That went like a flash.
It flies by. It's wild. It's
Yeah.
wild. Like super fast. Yeah.
Well, I enjoyed it. That
It
was
was
good.
great.
Hopefully people, if anyone was around, they enjoyed it.
Yes, we got lots of good content out there, I'm sure. And I'm sure questions were coming in.
We'll send you, as soon as we get it, we'll send you the video of this so you can put it up on all of your social media sites, whatever you want to
Yeah.
do.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well,
Amazing.
thank you, girls. And
Thank you.
The